keep going because you care so much about our country and about its border security. Again, I thank you. All Americans, I thank you. You are very, very special people. I am so proud that you are citizens of our country. When I say make America great again, it could never be done without you. Great people. In a short while, I will sign a bill to open our government for 3 weeks until February 15th. I will make sure that all employees receive their back pay very quickly or as soon as possible. It'll happen fast. I am asking Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to put this proposal on the floor immediately. After 36 days of spirited debate and dialogue, I have seen and heard from enough Democrats and Republicans that they are willing to put partisanship aside, I think, and put the security of the American people first. I do believe they're going to do that. They have said they are for complete border security, and they have finally and fully acknowledged that having barriers, fencing, or walls, or whatever you want to call it, will be an important part of the solution. A bipartisan conference committee of House and Senate lawmakers and leaders will immediately begin reviewing the requests of our Homeland Security experts, and experts they are, and also law enforcement professionals who have worked with us so closely. We want to thank Border Patrol, ICE, and all law enforcement. Been incredible. Based on operational guidance from the experts in the field, they will put together a Homeland Security package for me to shortly sign into law. Over the next 21 days, I expect that both Democrats and Republicans will operate in good faith. This is an opportunity for all parties to work together for the benefit of our whole beautiful, wonderful nation. If we make a fair deal, the American people will be proud of their government for proving that we can put country before party. We can show all Americans and people all around the world that both political parties are united when it comes to protecting our country and protecting our people. Many disagree. But I really feel that working with Democrats and Republicans, we can make a truly great and secure deal happen for everyone. Walls should not be controversial. Our country has built 654 miles of barrier over the last 15 years, and every career Border Patrol agent I have spoken with has told me that walls work. They do work. No matter where you go, they work. Israel built a wall, 99.9% successful. Won't be any different for us. They keep criminals out. They save good people from attempting a very dangerous journey from other countries, thousands of miles, because they think they have a glimmer of hope of coming through. With a wall, they don't have that hope. They keep drugs out, and they dramatically increase efficiency by allowing us to patrol far larger areas with far fewer people. It's just common sense. Walls work. That's why most of the Democrats in Congress have voted in the past for bills that include walls and physical barriers and very powerful fences. The walls we are building are not medieval walls. They are smart walls designed to meet the needs of frontline border agents and are operationally effective. These barriers are made of steel, have see-through visibility, which is very important, and are equipped with sensors, monitors, and cutting-edge technology, including state-of-the-art drones. We do not need 2,000 miles of concrete wall from sea to shiny sea. We never did. We never proposed that. We never wanted that, because we have barriers at the border where natural structures are as good as anything that we can build. They're already there. They've been there for millions of years. Our proposed structures will be in predetermined high-risk locations that have been specifically identified by the Border Patrol to stop illicit flows of people and drugs. No border security plan can ever work without a physical barrier. Just doesn't happen. At the same time, we need to increase drug detection technology and manpower to modernize our ports of entry, which are obsolete. The equipment's obsolete, they're old, they're tired. This is something we have all come to agree on and will allow for quicker and safer commerce. These critical investments will improve and facilitate legal trade and travel through our lawful ports of entry. Our plan also includes desperately needed humanitarian assistance for those being exploited and abused by coyotes, smugglers, and the dangerous journey north. The requests we have put before Congress are vital to ending the humanitarian and security crisis on our southern border. Absolutely vital. Will not work without it. This crisis threatens the safety of our country and thousands of American lives. Criminal cartels, narco-terrorists, transnational gangs like MS-13, and human traffickers are brazenly violating U.S. laws and terrorizing innocent communities. Human traffickers. The victims are women and children, maybe to a lesser extent, believe it or not, children. Women are tied up, they're bound, duct tape put around their faces, around their mouths. In many cases, they can't even breathe. They're put in the backs of cars or vans or trucks. They don't go through your port of entry. They make a right turn going very quickly. They go into the desert areas or whatever areas you can look at. And as soon as there's no protection, they make a left or a right into the United States of America. There's nobody to catch them. There's nobody to find them. They can't come through the port, because if they come through the port, people will see 4 women sitting in a van with tape around their face and around their mouth. Can't have that. And that problem, because of the internet, is the biggest problem. It's never been like this before that you can imagine. It's at the worst level, human trafficking, in the history of the world. This is not a United States problem. This is a world problem. But they come through areas where they have no protection, where they have no steel barriers, where they have no walls. And we can stop almost 100% of that. The profits reaped by these murderous organizations are used to fund their malign and destabilizing conduct throughout this hemisphere. Last year alone, ICE officers removed 10,000 known or suspected gang members like MS-13 and members as bad as them. Horrible people, tough, mean, sadistic. In the last 2 years, ICE officers arrested a total of 266,000 criminal aliens inside of the United States, including those charged or convicted of nearly 100,000 assaults, 30,000 sex crimes, and 4,000 homicides, or as you would call them, violent, vicious killings, can be stopped. Vast quantities of lethal drugs, including meth, fentanyl, heroin, and cocaine, are smuggled across our southern border and into U.S. schools and communities. Drugs kill much more than 70,000 Americans a year and cost our society in excess of $700 billion. The sheer volume of illegal immigration has overwhelmed federal authorities and stretched our immigration system beyond the breaking point. Nearly 50 migrants a day are being referred for medical assistance. They're very, very sick, making this a health crisis as well. It's a very big health crisis. People have no idea how big it is unless you're there. Our backlog in the immigration courts is now far greater than the 800,000 cases that you've been hearing about over the last couple of years. Think of that, though. 800,000 cases because our laws are obsolete. So obsolete. They're the laughingstock all over the world. Our immigration laws, all over the world, they've been there for a long time, are the laughingstock all over the world. We do not have the necessary space or resources to detain, house, vet, screen, and safely process this tremendous influx of people. In short, we do not have control over who is entering our country, where they come from, who they are, why they are coming. The result for many years is a colossal danger to public safety. We're going to straighten it out. It's not hard. It's easy if given the resources. Last month was the third straight month in a row with 60,000 apprehensions on our southern border. Think of that. We apprehended 60,000 people. That's like a stadium full of people, a big stadium. There are many criminals being apprehended, but vast numbers are coming because our economy is so strong. We have the strongest economy now in the entire world. You see what's happening. We have nowhere left to house them and no way to promptly remove them. We can't get them out because our laws are so obsolete, so antiquated, and so bad. Without new resources from Congress, we will be forced to release these people into communities, something we don't want to do, called catch and release. You catch them. Even if they're criminals, you then release them. And you can't release them from where they came, so they go into our country and end up in places you would least suspect. And we do as little releasing as possible, but they're coming by the hundreds of thousands. I have had 0 Democrat lawmakers volunteer to have them released into their districts or states, and I think they know that, and that's what we're going to be discussing over the next 3 weeks. The painful reality is that the tremendous economic and financial burdens of illegal immigration fall on the shoulders of low-income Americans, including millions of wonderful, patriotic, law-abiding immigrants who enrich our nation. As Commander-in-Chief, my highest priority is the defense of our great country. We cannot surrender operational control over the nation's borders to foreign cartels, traffickers, and smugglers. We want future Americans to come to our country legally and through a system based on merit. We need people to come to our country. We have great companies moving back into the United States. And we have the lowest employment and the best employment numbers that we've ever had. There are more people working today in the United States than have ever worked in our country. We need people to come in to help us on the farms and with all of these great companies that are moving back. Finally, they're moving back. People said it couldn't happen. It's happening. And we want them to enjoy the blessings of safety and liberty and the rule of law. We cannot protect and deliver these blessings without a strong and secure border. I believe that crime in this country can go down by a massive percentage if we have great security on our southern border. I believe drugs, large percentages of which come through the southern border, will be cut by a number that nobody will believe. So let me be very clear. We really have no choice but to build a powerful wall or steel barrier. If we don't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will either shut down on February 15th again, or I will use the powers afforded to me under the laws and the Constitution of the United States to address this emergency. We will have great security. And I want to thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
President Perry not going to take questions after that spirited defense of a wall, the need for a wall on the border. The president saying we have no choice but to build a wall on the border as he was announcing a 3-week deal that didn't include any money for the border wall that he had been saying all along was his one condition in order to reopen the government. I want to go straight to our congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce. You know, Mary, you wouldn't really know it from the speech the president gave right there, but he completely gave up, at least for the next 3 weeks, on the wall.
Yeah, George, this agreement gives Democrats exactly what they have been asking for throughout this entire shutdown, a short-term solution to reopen the government, buy them time to negotiate that does not give the president any funding for his wall. And it does seem that this plan could pass here as early as today. The question then becomes what comes next, because despite this bruising political fight that we have seen, reopening the government may be the easy part here. Now they have the challenge of trying to keep the government open, which means that they now have 3 weeks to do what they could not do here over the last 5 weeks, somehow come to a broader agreement on border security, George.
Right, and that is the problem in the long. Nothing has changed from this agreement, except they're going to have a little more time to negotiate. Meantime, Mary, do we think now, assuming this gets done over the weekend, State of the Union back on for Tuesday?
That is the big question here, because, of course, the agreement to postpone the State of the Union was only so long as the government remained closed. Assuming the government is back up and running, it does seem like it is a very real possibility that we will actually have a State of the Union address here on Tuesday. Okay, let me go to Terry Moran now at the White House. Terry, the president completely gave up on the wall for now. It appears that he really had no choice. The political pressure is building. 6 Republicans abandoned him in the Senate yesterday. We have this brand new poll out right now showing that the public was blaming the president and the GOP for the shutdown, also had driven his poll ratings and his approval rating down to 37%. That is the lowest approval rating for any president at the 2-year mark of his term, Terry.
And you could feel that here, George. Let me just give you a sense of what was going on. It was a scramble here as the White House was responding to what was going on Capitol Hill, really, because the Republicans on Capitol Hill couldn't take that pressure either. And in order to give this an aura of victory, the president, you heard the applause, he called in his entire cabinet, the mayors who were visiting today, and much of the White House staff just to stand in and give the sound of applause while he stood and caved, as you pointed out. There's no question that he has just felt that this is a deal he could have had weeks ago. Nancy Pelosi said, let's keep the rest of the government open. Let's talk about Homeland Security and let's get going. There was no sign at that point. So the question is, having owned the shutdown proudly, as he said in the Oval Office, what did he get for it?
So far, nothing yet. The government will reopen, assuming this does pass. The president began his remarks by thanking the federal workers who have endured this hardship over the last few weeks. And I want to bring in David Curley, our senior transportation correspondent, because the other big factor here this morning was a major airline shutdown, stall all across the East Coast because several air traffic controllers didn't come to work.
You know, there's been talk about this all along, George, that at some point the controllers who've been working without paychecks, longer shifts than normal, might start calling in sick. It happened this morning at two centers, one in Washington, D.C., one in Jacksonville, Florida. That slowed traffic in both over Florida and over the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. In fact, there was a ground stop at LaGuardia this morning for nearly an hour. So basically slowing down the system to keep it safe. We have learned that the 13 controllers that were supposed to be on schedule at the center outside of Washington today, 6 of them called out and did not come to work. So you had this rippling through the system, very slow air traffic control, and you can see it in the delays all across the country. It will take most of the day to kind of flush that system out and get things back to normal. So they'll be happy today that they are going to get a paycheck and maybe some relief. And all across those who have been affected. Take a look at a food bank for the Coast Guardsmen in New London, Connecticut. This was a wife of a Coast Guardsman watching on her phone, the president saying that this is over. They're going to get a check. They're happy about it. So at least now, for a couple of weeks, these folks are going to get paid, back on the job, and then they hope that the government stays open, George.
What a relief for those 800,000 federal workers who've had to bear this sacrifice. They and their families have borne this sacrifice over the last 3 weeks. Assuming this goes through over the weekend, they will be back to work on Monday. The back pay, as the president said, should come through very quickly. So the president announcing right there, the government should reopen. There's been a deal with senators and members of Congress up on Capitol Hill. Government should reopen at least for 3 weeks. We'll have full details tonight on World News Tonight with David Muir. Have a good afternoon.
And thank you, George. I'm ABC's Devin Dwyer in Washington for continuing coverage here on ABC News Live. Let's pick up where George left off and hear from some of those workers, not just the 800,000, but also thousands more of contract workers who have been living without pay these past 35 days in the shutdown. And we're joined now by 2 of those workers here on ABC News Live. Happy to have with us Carson Mata. She's a furloughed EPA official living in New Jersey. Carson, great to see you. You were here with us yesterday. We also have with us Monique Borte. She's up here in Washington. She's a federal contractor who works for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration under the Department of Commerce, also living without pay. Great to have both of you with us. Let's just start with you, Carson. Give us your reaction to the president's announcement and the news that you'll be back on the job very shortly.
I'm ecstatic about the news. I'm excited that we'll be able to go back to work on Monday and hopefully get that back pay as soon as possible, like the president said in his remarks. My main concern is what happens on February 15th if a deal isn't reached. Are we going to have to go through this mess again and leave hundreds of thousands of people out of work again? So I'm going to eagerly await what happens on the Hill and what happens with the negotiations. I'm thrilled for now, but we'll be, waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, and as the president said, if they don't reach a deal in 3 weeks, we could face yet another shutdown, potentially him declaring a national emergency instead. But good news for you, Carson, with those paychecks set to resume. Also, the back pay, which has previously been approved, we are told will come in the next few days as well. So good news for you. But I do want to bring in Monique Borte. She is not a federal employee. She's a contract worker. Monique, want to get your reaction, and also what's your expectation of being able to get back on the job over at Commerce and start to make those paychecks again?
Well, I'm very happy that the shutdown is over. I'll be even more happier once the bill is actually signed, once the ink is on the paper. But it takes some time to make a paycheck, and so I'm happy to be able to go back to work. that gives us enough time to make at least one paycheck. But as you know, for contractors, we are normally not promised back pay. And so it's kind of like we're starting from scratch. And, you know, I'm hoping the government stays open past February 15th. That's my hope. If that doesn't happen, we just have to kind of do what we need to do to get by. That's what we've been doing thus far.
Yeah, we're hoping that too, for sure. And I do know, knowing so many federal contractors, it's going to take some time for those wheels to start turning and for the work to start showing up again, no doubt. But give us a sense of how difficult this has been for you. You're a mother of 3. Your husband has some health issues. Your last paycheck was, gosh, over a couple weeks ago.
Right. It's been a challenge. We participated in a food bank last Friday, which replenished the food here in the house, and I've had to turn to family members and friends to kind of get by. I've also started a GoFundMe page like so many other people, and so you know, it's just the challenge of just making sure your basic needs are met. That's the difficulty, you know. And in my particular case, my husband is disabled. He has congestive heart failure, and so he's not able to kind of offset my not getting paid because he doesn't have a steady income coming in. And so we've been thankful for the help of friends and family. We're thankful for the GoFundMe page, people that have donated to us, and just trying to be very mindful with our spending, you know, buying only the basic things, you know, just basic needs. That's where we are right now. And so it has been tough. I'm looking forward to making another paycheck, but my long-term concern is whether I'll be able to continue making a paycheck on a regular basis.
Yeah, that uncertainty does seem like it will continue at least for the next few weeks or so. Let's go bring Carson Mata back into this up in New Jersey. Carson, you are one of the people who's been trying to help your fellow furloughed workers and contractors like Monique. We talked yesterday about your efforts to raise money on social media, to put together some food banks, to put together some community meals. Tell us a little bit, though, about your work at the EPA and some of the projects that you've had to let sit idle while this shutdown has continued. What's your expectation? What are you looking forward to getting back to doing there to get this your work back underway?
Absolutely. So part of my job at EPA is community involvement work. So it has felt natural to kind of organize and mobilize over the past month that we've been out of work. But I organize kind of community involvement efforts around hazardous waste sites in New Jersey. I've got about 7 or 8 Superfund, we call the Superfund sites. And these are hazardous waste sites in the community that we are overseeing the cleanups for. And part of my job is bringing in the community and kind of helping them understand or bridging the gap between EPA and what our construction work looks like, and kind of telling them, giving them a sense of what our work is, and you know, kind of putting their minds at ease as far as the work that we're doing in their communities and how we're helping to, you know, mitigate the hazardous waste. And so those are long-term cleanup projects. And, you know, to be going back to work with this ticking clock of 3 weeks, and, you know, it's going to be a challenge to plan. During the shutdown, I was supposed to have a public meeting on January 9th for one of my sites. Obviously, that had to be canceled, and I just don't know if we're going to have enough time to reschedule that meeting and get the word out and make sure that we have the right accommodations for that. So that's just one example of many of the stalled projects that have been going on at EPA, and I'm not sure that 3 weeks is enough time, but again, the clock starts now, so hopefully we're going to get back to work and get some solid work done in the 3 weeks that we have, and we'll play it by ear after that.
Yeah, a lot of important projects, not only at the EPA, but all across government, awaiting workers to return to them, get them jump-started today. Just to refresh, if you're just joining us here on ABC News Live, President Trump just moments ago announcing that he's reached a deal to reopen the federal government for 3 weeks until February 15th. He says that he's asked Mitch McConnell to put a bill on the floor of the United States Senate to sign it. He has the expectation that Democrats will join with Republicans. Remarkably, though, in the bill that will be on the table. There's no funding for the president's border wall at this time, with the expectation that perhaps in the next 3 weeks they will be able to work out some sort of a larger deal. The president also made mention of that back pay for these hundreds of thousands of workers across the country that have been out of pay now for 35 days, today being the second payday that many federal workers will not receive a paycheck. He said that back pay will be coming very soon. And we should also point out at the top of his remarks today, the president, after taking some criticism the past few days for the administration's treatment of these federal workers and comments about those federal workers, did pay homage to their sacrifice during this past month. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
I want to thank all of the incredible federal workers and their amazing families who have shown such extraordinary devotion in the face of this recent hardship. You are fantastic people. You are incredible patriots. Many of you have suffered far greater than anyone but your families would know or understand.
And let's go back to Monique Borte. She's a federal contractor at the Commerce Department who's been out of work. Monique, want to get your reaction to the president's comments about people like yourself. He said, "I thank you. You're very, very special people."
We are special people. We go to work every day. We want to do a good job. We're going to work to make money for our families. And I'm just glad that the shutdown is over. I'm glad that we're moving on from this. Like I said, I hope that the government stays open past the 15th. And hopefully, this discussion around border security can be separated from shutting the government down. We go to work every day. We work extremely hard. We're passionate about what we do at our jobs. Our work is our reputation on the job. And so all we want to do is do our best and serve the American people through our jobs. So.
Well, Monique, thank you very much for joining us here on ABC News Live. Thank you for your service to our country and to the government. Appreciate your time very much. And going to you, Carson, wanted to get your reaction to the president's comments about federal workers and get your take on sort of the attitude, the mentality going forward. You've pretty plugged into the community up there in your state of federal workers. What do you think that is going to be sort of the mindset as these workers go back to work?
Well, what I'm really hoping that comes out of the negotiations is that all of the elected officials in Washington consider, like Monique said, separating the functions of the several agencies of the government that were shut down and separating that from their debates about border security and all of the other, issues that they're debating. I think that I hope that we'll never have to go through this again, and they should try to implement a bill or pass something where we won't be held hostage or put in this situation again, because the country absolutely relies on our functions as agencies, and I know that a lot of my colleagues echo that sentiment. So like Monique said, work gives us a sense of pride, and that's especially true in the public sector and public service. And we just want to get back to work and serve our people, and that's what we do. That's what we do best. So I really hope that something good comes out of the next 3 weeks, and I'll be eagerly awaiting to see what happens.
Oh, very well said, Carson. Thank you so much for your service also, and also for all the good work you've been doing in the community that we talked about yesterday on the briefing room. Thank you again for that, and take good care. Meanwhile, now the politics of the moment, as Carson alluded to there, still very much unresolved. The president, in large part, single-handedly forced this government shutdown over funding for his border wall. He's now ended the shutdown without any funding in hand, but there is still that fight on the horizon. The president spent a good part of his speech today in the Rose Garden talking again, making the case for why he thinks we need that border wall. We're joined now by ABC News Homeland Security contributor John Cohen. He joins us by phone. John, you've been a regular here on ABC News Live. We've tried to analyze the administration's positions on the wall. Give us your reaction to what you heard from the president today and what the likelihood is you think that there could be some agreement on border security funding in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, hi. There was some encouraging information provided in the president's press conference. Clearly, government's reopening. The government workers will get back pay. That's great news. And also, at times, the president seemed to be acknowledging that effective border security comes through the use of a combination of barriers where it makes sense, technology in remote areas, technology that assists in the screening of vehicles at ports of entry, and more people that can be, and using all of those capabilities in an intelligence-driven way so that our border security operations can adapt to the changing methods used by human and drug smugglers. I think what was less encouraging from my perspective is that the president almost couldn't seem to help himself but to fall back into some of the immigration-related rhetoric that, while popular with his political base, seems to be devoid of any accuracy. The way he characterized the national security threat at the southern border, I think, over the past weeks, we've seen that much of what has been said has been, inflated, embellished, or just simply inaccurate as it relates to the terrorism-related and other national security issues that have been raised. He continued to paint a picture where immigrants, and in particular undocumented or unauthorized immigrants, are a driving factor in our domestic crime rates. And that's just simply not the case. There is no objective analysis that says anything other than the fact that people that are here, even here illegally, are less likely to be involved in criminal activity than native-born people. I also didn't hear much about the president talk much about what steps the administration was going to take in the near term to deal with the humanitarian issues at the southern border, the issues that come from the fact that we are seeing an increase of family units present at the border, at ports of entry, at other parts of the border, seeking asylum. And in fact, in recent days, we've heard some suggestions that we may be taking steps backwards in that area by DHS saying that they are going to force people who come to the border seeking asylum back into Mexico to await the processing, and that seems to be certainly something that's going to be challenged legally. So, like I said, some good news, some encouraging news on the front end. The government's reopening. There seems to be some acknowledgement that border security is much more than simply a concrete or steel wall, but there still seems to be a lot of sort of the inflammatory political rhetoric in his messaging that could complicate coming to an agreement.
Yeah, quite simply, John, at least they're talking about this, as we're just learning from the Department of Homeland Security yesterday, that border apprehensions down on the southern border so far this year up 81% compared to last year. Of course, we know historically over the last 2 decades they've been down significantly, but we are seeing that influx, and as you've told us, John, many times, that humanitarian crisis, perhaps more than anything, does demand some attention, and perhaps that'll come out of this. John Cohen, thank you so much for joining us. Much more from you a little later today on ABC News Live. We'll have much more full coverage of this breaking development here on ABC News Live, abcnews.com. Download the ABC News app. If you don't have it, you can follow live coverage here on the live channel. Of course, all of our reporting as well. Right now, we're going to go to Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, speaking on the floor about this deal that the president has just announced. We do expect a vote later today in the Senate and in the House, again, to get the federal government reopened now after 35 days of being partially shut down. Here we go.